They are a class of 30 unique individuals, and together they have been accepted to over 80 colleges and universities. They have earned more than $4.7 million in merit scholarships.
We are sisters. We stick together, and we make up one big family of 30, even though we don't look the same. Whether or not we will remember every single moment of high school, like the time we were sprinting through the maze at Dole Plantation for class day, just so we'd spend more time at the beach, or how every morning the bell would ring and we would continue to carry on our conversations, forgetting that we actually had to go to class. We will remember the time that we planned the first ever La Pietra Powder Puff Games, or how much fun we had chasing out the birds that made the bold move to enter our lounge and poop on all the tables. Most importantly, we will remember today and each other. Everything we've done our whole lives so far has led up to this moment right here, right now. And I wouldn't want to change any of it, because everything happens for a reason. And if it weren't for the millions of reasons these past years, we wouldn't be standing here together graduating. We're a class that will always have one thing in common. We will always be the class that is remembered for making history. After all, as Gabby says, we're only graduating from La Pietra, not from each other. Now, over the years, we've been through a lot. But all sisters do. But we've been through it together. Not only have we always been the good class that supports one another, but the class that manages to get things done, even if we stay up all night on Netflix, or the CW, or watching YouTube videos, procrastinating first. Through the ups and downs, the struggles of senioritis in junior year, the laughs and the tears, the good times and the even better times, this speech is dedicated to the graduating class that starts and ends things for the better. Today's the day where we can say all of our hard work has paid off, the day where we look beautiful in our white graduation dresses, and the day where we, the good girls, stand together one last time as a senior class of La Pietra before going grad. It's the day we reflect on all the memories, events, and people who have helped us to get to where we are today. It's the day where we begin shaping our own future. I know that we have the determination to accomplish anything we set our minds to, and if at some points it seems impossible, I know that we are the ones who will make it possible. It's also the day where we say thank you. Thank you to our loving families who have been there since day one and have made countless sacrifices to tend to our every need. To our friends, classmates, and peers, thank you for accepting us for who we are and always being there to make us laugh or as a shoulder to cry on. To the administration, faculty, and staff here at La Pietra who support, educate, and empower us students both in and outside of the classroom so that we are prepared for the great things in store for us. Our high school days have come to an end, and over the past 18 years, we've prepared for the rest of our lives. We've taken risks, tried new things, made mistakes, learned from our mistakes, and most importantly, we've lived a life proud to call ours. Although in these next few years, We may not be attending the same school, and we may not even be in the same state or even the same country. The sisterhood we formed and the memories we've created will be remembered in our brains and felt in our hearts. After all, we are Good Girls Gone Grad! Thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees,
Miley Zambuto was born and raised in Honolulu. She attended the Honolulu Waldorf School and graduated from La Pietra, class of 1990. She attended college at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles and then returned home to pursue what would become her life's work, advocating for survivors of violence and abuse. She served in leadership with the Junior League of Honolulu and the Children's Justice Center, where she helped to create self-empowerment programs for sexually abused girls. She then moved to New York City to pursue her career and spent more than a decade at Safe Horizon, the nation's leading victim assistance organization, where she became the Chief Development, Marketing, and Communications Officer. During her tenure at Safe Horizon, Miley helped lead development campaigns to build several child advocacy centers, as well as expand domestic violence shelters throughout New York City, leading Safe Horizon to become the largest provider of domestic violence services in the country. Miley was at Safe Horizon during the September 11th attacks and helped to distribute over $250 million in immediate financial assistance throughout the September 11th Fund to more than 55,000 survivors. In the same year, Miley moved to New York City. The actress and advocate Mariska Hargitay moved to New York City to portray Olivia Benson in a new television series called Law & Order Special Victims Unit, now in its 17th season. Inspired by her role on the show and the survivors of abuse who reached out to her to share their stories, Mariska founded the Joyful Heart Foundation to help survivors heal and reclaim their lives. It was through their shared commitment that Miley and Mariska joined forces. For the last 6 years, Miley has served as the national CEO of Joyful Heart whose mission is to heal, educate, and empower survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and child abuse, and to shed light into the darkness that surrounds these issues. Today, the foundation operates from Honolulu, Los Angeles, and New York City. Under Miley's leadership, Joyful Heart has raised nearly $100 million in private funds, in-kind contributions, and pro bono services, served over 14,000 survivors and healing professionals, affected policy changes from California to New York City, launched End the Backlog, a campaign to eradicate the backlog of over 400,000 untested rape kits sitting on shelves across the country, and produced the groundbreaking No More PSA campaign, which has already reached an audience of 3 billion, including PSAs during every televised NFL game this season. Locally, Joyful Heart has invested nearly $5 million in their programs and partnerships, and directly assisted over 3,500 survivors and the professionals who serve them. Miley serves on the National Advisory Committee for Peace Over Violence, based in Los Angeles. She's on the board of directors of A Call to Men, a national organization dedicated to engaging men in ending violence against women and girls. And she is a co-founder and executive committee member of No More, the National Awareness and Engagement Campaign. Miley's newest venture is a production company she formed in partnership with Mariska Hargitay, and she is an executive producer on the upcoming feature documentary, Shelved, along with the class of 1976 alumni Lauren Bromley. In 2013, Miley moved home to Honolulu with her husband and her 2 children, and manages a very active family life with keeping New York City work hours and lots of travel. Her newest passion, she says, is her reconnection to La Pietra and being of service to our school community. Please welcome home Miley Zambuto, class of 1990.
For that very, very generous introduction, and Sachi for your wonderful words and beautiful speech. I just have to say that you are all so stunning. I want to express my awe and gratitude to Alice Guild and the Board of Trustees for your leadership, for your generosity, and being the guiding lights of this school. I'm blessed to call many of you friends, mentors, and my La Pietra sisters. And my new friend, Mahina. I'd heard so much about you, and my goodness, I don't even have the words for the impression you made on me when I first met you. You embody the beauty, the beautiful spirit and elegance of this school, and I feel so fortunate and blessed to know you. I'm here today because Lauren Bromley had the idea to invite me to deliver the commencement speech. So Lauren, thank you. One of my goals tonight, and always, is to make you proud. But I want to say respectfully, Lauren, that I'm not going to give a commencement speech. To get ready for today, I did some homework, and the bad news, ladies, is it never ends. And I looked up speech in the dictionary, a spoken expression of ideas or opinions made by someone in front of a group of people. And somehow I thought something was missing. And so I looked up to speak, to say words in order to express your thoughts, opinions, and feelings to someone, to talk to someone. And there it was, feelings. I've been giving speeches most of my life, but I think this is probably the first time I want to speak to an audience, to allow my feelings to be not only a part of, but at the very core of what I want to say. First and foremost, you will hear how deeply I feel for you, class of 2015. You will hear my hope, my heartfelt advice, and my love, yes, love, even though we haven't known each other very long. You will also hear the depth of my affection for this school, and you will hear the depth of my gratitude for this very moment. So class of 2015, it's hard for me to know what to say to you, not because I don't have anything to say, but because I want to say everything. Fortunately, this spring I got to spend some time with many of you, and I asked for your help in finding what would be the most meaningful to hear from me. And you said, because you are bright and brave and wise young women, that what you wanted, what you craved, was advice. You had exquisite questions. What does it mean, and what does it actually take to be happy? What is it like to go from small to big, a small place to a big place, a small life to a big life? Can you have it all? Can you balance family and career? How will we be successful? And how will we go from being safe and being the priority here to living out there in the world where that won't be the case? I'm tempted to say in response, please tell me when you find the answers, because I have exactly the same questions. But I want to respond more fully, of course, so I'll do something that I do often. I look to someone who knows more, someone who moves me, and someone who inspires me. And in this case, it's the German poet Rilke. Always good to go to the poets, by the way. Rilke was a prolific letter writer, and he got a letter one day in 1902 from a much younger poet, 19 years old, who was asking for what else? Advice. He asked many of the same exquisite questions you asked, and Rilke's responses are collected in a book called Letters to a Young Poet. The most famous passage from that book goes like this: I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and to try to love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way to the answers. Love the questions. Live the questions. That's the poet's advice. Life will be your teacher. I'm certainly not going to do a better job than Rilke, but I'm guessing that you might have been hoping for something a little more than the wisdom of the poets. So I'm going to do my best to offer some things I've learned from my years living the questions. I won't claim that I've always loved them, but I've certainly lived them. So here goes. Don't give yourself away. When it comes to your mind, don't give it away. Make wise decisions about what deserves your energy, your time, your focus, and your attention, and where you invest your creativity and your spirit and your body. Love it. Learn to love it. Honor it. Value it. Do not give it away. Shine your light. Cultivate humility within yourself, but don't ever dim your own light in order to fit in with lights that shine less brightly than yours. Don't cheat, not even a little, not at all. Not on a test, not on someone you care for. Don't even cut a corner. People show you who they are. They will tell you who they are, but pay close attention to what they do. That is who they are. Support, affirm, promote, and uplift the women and girls around you. You have been blessed with an environment here at La Pietra that is deeply and wonderfully affirming and supportive. And as you know, that's not always going to be the case. This is really important, so I want you to listen. This is the thing. There's something that happens in groups that are less valued in society. As women, we are part of a group. We take in and we internalize our oppression and then turn on each other rather than confront the system that doesn't recognize our value. It's called lateral oppression, and it's just a fancy name for behavior that can look like gossiping, being overly critical, undercutting, excluding, or backstabbing other girls. We recognize it as destructive, and yet at times it can almost feel natural. Guard against it with everything that you have. It prevents us from seeing each other as allies and uniting to bring change and ultimately our equality. Practice gratitude. Cultivate a daily practice to deepen it. This will transform your life. It has transformed mine. Live within your means or below your means. It's hard not to get caught up in what others have or get hooked by what's called lifestyle creep. If you have the urge to have more, ask yourself why and answer really honestly. Don't get drunk. Trust me, don't get drunk. Not only because you'll embarrass yourself and because you'll feel so crappy the next day that you'll want to crawl into a hole and stay there forever, but because it makes you more vulnerable. So everybody take a deep breath. The U.S. Department of Justice estimates that between 20 and 25% of women will experience rape or attempted rape during their college career. 9 times out of 10, the rapist is known to the victim. The fact is alcohol is the #1 date rape drug out there. It is used as a tactic to target individuals and a weapon to make it easier to cause harm. 89% of assaults occur when a victim is incapacitated by alcohol. That being said, sexual assault is never the fault of the victim, ever, under any circumstances, whether they're intoxicated or not. That being said, don't get drunk, and look out for your friends who do. Be outraged, like get out of your mind, head exploding, heart pounding, outraged by poverty, by injustice, and by suffering, and then set out to do something about it. Be curious, endlessly so, relentlessly so. Be curious about the world around you, ideas, beliefs, cultures, languages, people, places, everything. Be curious. Get out of your own way, and that doesn't mean muscle yourself out of the way. It means that you should find a way to talk to those things within you that are holding you back and ask them nicely to step aside. Pick up the phone. Relationships are everything, personal and professional. You can't create one, cultivate one, an authentic, meaningful connection over text or email. God, that makes me feel so old. But it's true. Hear the voice and let them hear yours. Or you can get really crazy and meet them for tea or coffee or lunch. Feedback is a gift. It is foundational for learning and growth. It might feel a little uncomfortable. You might fear how it'll be received. Practice giving it anyway, and open yourself up to receive it. Seek it out, ask for it, and then really take it in. Have fun. Have fun. I've had to learn not to be so uptight and to take myself so seriously, especially with the work that I do. Allow yourself to be ridiculously, preposterously silly. See funny movies. Surround yourself with funny people who make you laugh. Get on a ride. Throw your hands in the air. Dance at the party. Get your hair wet. I don't care what it is. Have a blast. Clean up your social media profiles. The first place I look when I'm considering someone for a job, it's scary. And for the love of God, do not have a single error on your resume or cover letter. Learn to listen. Actively, deeply listen. Don't interrupt. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Listen. Bearing witness is one of the greatest gifts that you can give another human being. And listen to your inner voice. Trust your gut, your instincts, your heart. Hawaiians call it na'au. It is wise. It is good. And if you haven't developed a good relationship with your inner voice, cultivate it and guard it. And lastly, take every moment of your maternity leave. You will never, ever get it back. So that is my advice. I hope that you will carry it with you. But I know you're already carrying within you something much more important, the seeds that have planted here at La Pietra. Passion, confidence, curiosity, creativity, persistence, character. And as you move out into the world, I know, and I know we all know, that there will come a moment when you begin to watch your commitments bear fruit, when you begin to feel the doors that you've chosen to push against crack open just a little, when you begin to detect the contours of how you are going to choose and define for yourself what it means to live a successful life. If you trace those moments back to their source, and I hope that you will, I would be very surprised if that exploration didn't lead you back to this school, through these halls, the courtyard, this lawn, and all of these people. I celebrate that same exploration within myself and those times when I trace moments of courage, a willingness to risk, a dissatisfaction with the good, and a hunger for what's better, for what's best, back to the seeds that first took root in me at this school. But what I want to dig more deeply into, what my time at La Pietra has meant to me, to tell you a little bit more of my story, and to give you a fuller understanding of the profound, profound gratitude I feel. I was sexually abused most of my childhood, for the first time when I was 5, by a teacher named Paul Bazell at the private school I attended. My childhood was suffused with, steeped in, and weighted down by an overwhelming sense of shame and insignificance. I testified at 8 years old in front of a grand jury. Paul Bazell was indicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. He served 11 days. He was also ordered to pay restitution to his victims. He never did. Mr. Bazell had reminded me over and over again that if I told anyone about the abuse, I would be forced to leave the school. I made an important, strong, defining decision, again at 8 years old, to stay. I moved through my time there until the 8th grade, teased by most of the boys, and blamed by much of the school community. And then there was the look in the face of a new teacher or a family new to the school when they realized who I was, that girl. And then came this. All of this. This, La Pietra, of course, was a gift. My choice to come to an all-girls school wasn't arbitrary. I craved this energy. I craved safety. And for the first 2 years here, I just caught my breath. I know the translation of La Pietra is stone or gem, but for me, the translation was life raft. Slowly, very slowly, I began to have a new feeling. I began gradually to feel like I mattered. That very basic feeling of significance as a person. I started to experience the strength of my intellect, what it was like to focus and point my intelligence towards something and then watch that thing bend, change, and transform. I became very active and involved in this school. I was student body president. I was the first in my family to go to the mainland for college. And looking back, I believe that I would not have survived what happened in my childhood had it not been for my beautiful, affirming, restorative time at this school. I wouldn't have survived also what came after. I was raped in my sophomore year of college, and the assault, violent and terrifying, added fear to my being. I was consumed by it, and everything I had fought so hard to keep from believing descended on me that I was worthless. that I couldn't control anything and that my purpose was to be used by others. The lights went out, and what followed was the darkest time of my life. And it was also a very dark time in LA, where I lived. The city was being torn apart by riots after the Rodney King verdict, and somehow something in me knew to show up and volunteer. I felt needed, and it felt good. I drew a great strength from the people that I helped, and I began to heal. And then I found my work, my affirming, difficult, significant, complex, meaningful, profound life's work. My work helped me make sense of what happened to me. My work has brought meaning to my life, and through it, I have found my true purpose, to be of service, not to be used by others, but to choose to be of service. And I know that Sansi's beautiful introduction told you much about what I've done and what I've achieved. And I want to add how privileged I feel to lead an organization that is a fierce agent for change, and how privileged I am to do it side by side with Mariska, who is one of my greatest teachers. The desire for change is obviously deeply personal for me. There's so much I want to change, and there's so much that needs to change. I can share with you that what has stayed with me, what still creeps in more than the abuse itself, is the response of the community around me. And those responses and the attitudes that they represent have brought deep suffering to my life, not only mine, but the lives of so many survivors. I know that there are people here tonight in this community who have had experiences like mine, even those who've never spoken of it. And I've made a commitment to myself never to give a speech, or rather to speak, again, without offering the response you deserve. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. I am so, so sorry. I hear you. I believe you. It is not your fault. And you matter deeply. Witnessing people thrive and reclaim joy has awakened in me the drive to seek the same for myself. It is a dogged pursuit, and I heal every day in small and grand ways. I'm hard at work on many, many things. I like to control everything. The pace and intensity which I operate sometimes scares even me. My need, still, to demonstrate my significance to myself and everyone by achieving, producing, fixing, succeeding. I have lived my life, understandably, with a survivor's wisdom that nothing and no one can be trusted. And I will say, with a very different wisdom, one that feels very new to me, that I trust this moment and I trust this day. I hesitated when Lauren asked me to speak today. I thought I might be more ready next year. And then I realized 50 years since the school's founding, 25 years since I stood here and gave my graduation speech right on this lawn. I trust the timing. I've reflected deeply on my years here. I understand only now that I could not have survived the experience of the world as an unspeakably cruel place without knowing what gentleness felt like here, without knowing what safety felt like here. I would not have survived being discarded without knowing what it felt like to be held here. And I trust this new understanding. I connected with the vision of the founders of La Pietra, whose aim it was to create a school for girls that felt like it was made just for them. I trust the divine orchestration that brought me to this school and felt indeed like it was made just for me. I trust the orchestration of my journey, and I am grateful for all of it. I trust the knowing in my bones that I would not be the force and the advocate that I am for so many people if I had not been without what I've suffered. And most of all, I trust that I can stand here today and be vulnerable to speak to you the truth of my life, my struggles, my victories, and my feelings, and be embraced. I trust that I'm safe. And when I gave the graduation speech 25 years ago, I had learned how to hold myself together. Today, I trust that I can learn to fall apart. So, class of 2015. I said at the beginning that I felt so much love for you. You are extraordinary individuals, and I thank you so much for the way that you've listened. You've clearly already have that skill mastered. But part of the reason I think my affection for you runs so deep is that I feel so much like you. I know, I even wore the white dress. And yes, I'm a few years older, but like you, I'm also standing before a very new beginning. I'm nervous, but deeply excited to move out into the world that feels full of promise, full of hope, and full of feeling. My deepest congratulations to you. We're so proud of you.
Hi guys. So I did a lot of research preparing for this speech, and everywhere said the same thing. I had to recount funny anecdotes, talk about the unsure future, give my fellow graduates some philosophical advice that all has the same sort of theme: your futures are bright, the path is unsure, perseverance is key. The thing is, I know all of you girls, and most of all, I know that nothing I say will be so life-shattering because you all know all of this. Anything I tell you, you've been told before. So you may be asking, why am I here giving you a farewell address when I have nothing amazing to say that will help you get through this amazingly difficult transition in your lives? I thought about that too. I struggled to find something to send you off with before you receive your diplomas and we all go our separate ways. There isn't some general statement that will work for all of you because we're all different, and that's what makes us so special. Not to sound vain, but I've heard many times from various faculty and administration that we are one of the greatest classes that they have worked with. We're dynamic, interesting, supportive, but at the same time we question and disagree with one another. We are writers, horseback riders, intellectuals, artists, biologists, connoisseurs of ancient Chinese instruments, athletes, fashion enthusiasts, perfectionists, models, and so much more. We complement each other. And these are the reasons that I know every single one of you will be just fine in this transition from this Italian villa on the flanks of Diamond Head to your next destination in your life. I came to this school as a 6th grader. I had just recently moved here, and I didn't have a lot of friends. La Pietra was like finding a needle in a haystack with a blindfold on. I had no idea what I was going to get, but it was the right choice. I struggled through those middle school years with all my peers. We lasted through the melodrama of crushes, the premature romances. We suffered through the mood swings and trying to balance our homework while also trying to look cool to our peers. Those of you who came in high school, I haven't forgotten about our struggles together. The workloads got harder. We sort of learned to prioritize, although I think Netflix is a much higher priority than it should be. We've fallen asleep in class, sorry teachers, and had to make up a lot of work for those 2 or 3 days that we were absent. But through all of this and more, we've come out on top, and we've made it. Pretty soon, we'll be walking down this path to receive our diplomas, and our time as students at La Pietra will be over. And I know I said you all know any piece of advice I could give you at the end of this speech, but I wanted to end this speech with 3 of my own personal philosophies to reinforce what you already know. First, if everyone else has been able to do it, you can do it too. Nothing can limit you. Your gender, your sexual orientation, your beliefs, those all cannot stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. So don't believe you can't do something just because someone else says you're incapable. Second, do not be ashamed of your personality. People will judge you. People will say you need to be more like someone else. But whether you're an introvert, extrovert, ambivert, undefined, against labeling, it's up to you who you want to be, because that will be what makes you happy. And that leads me to my 3rd philosophy. Third, do everything you can to enjoy your lives. You are in control, and there will be times of shortcomings and sadness. But the point isn't to dwell on the bad, it's to find what makes it good again. So class of 2015, here we are. All I can say is, good luck. You'll all be just fine.
Each year. So proud to introduce the graduating class of 2015. to introduce the graduating class of 2015.